Hey guys, we are back and it is Octo day again. I'm so excited to share with you guys all the new yarns that I picked up and how they turned out. And the biggest Octo I've ever made is coming at the end. I was surprised. I think you will be too on what yarn it is that created this monster Octo. I'm Karen. This is Yarn and Whimsy. Welcome aboard. Thank you guys so much for stopping in. I think we are going to dive right in and talk about maybe the smallest one we created first. So if you guys have been following along, we have made can you even see those? Yes. We have made so many Octos in so many different yarns. And this is just our next evolution because there are so many more plush yarns out there than I think any of us realize, and I still have a long list left to go. But this is from Premier. This little cutie pie I made out of the Premier Pixie Dust Brights. Let's compare it to some of these little velvet ones because I think they're the most comparable. This is the Bernat Velvet. This is Pixie Dust Brights. It's tiny. This is the Bernat Baby. Very comparable in size. And this is the Lion Brand Velux, just a tiny bit bigger. It's adorable, it's tiny, it's a cutie. Okay, with this yarn, you get 230 meters, 251 yards in a skein. I don't know if you can tell, but it's got a little bit of shimmer to it in a really pretty way. It's not the only shimmering. I feel like it's not in focus for you guys, but you can kind of tell. It's got just a little bit of shimmer in a really pretty way. It's kind of a very light, cool, silvery white shimmer. Very, very, very pretty. I really liked working with this, but it turns out super small. This yarn is considered a 4-weight, and it recommended a 5.5 millimeter hook. I used a 4 millimeter hook. Even though it's got that glitter in it, and you can kind of feel the glitter, it doesn't have any drag on the hook. It worked up really well on the hook. I didn't have any trouble at all with my magic ring for this one. It was a piece of cake. The fuzziness combined with how thin it is can make it challenging to see the stitch definition on this one. It is, however, so much better than Little Bunny. Do I have the Little Bunny? So much better than the Little Bunny for stitch definition. You can even, I think, kind of see, you can see the stitches here. Here, there's no stitches. This is just fuzz all around. I think this one's a smidge easier to work with than that. If you are new at it, I think it's still a bit of a challenge. Tread lightly. I, however, love the way it turned out. I am so glad I bought it in this blue color and in this pretty pale pink color. I am so excited to use both of them. I think that you could do a lot of really pretty soft things with this. It does come in 18 different colors, so lots of variety, from like a red to a light brown to like a periwinkle color, white, blues, oranges, pinks. You do have a lot of variety with this. You could do a lot with it. If you like working with thinner yarns, this might be for you. Like I said, even though it's got that glitter in it, sometimes that makes it drag a little or feel a little not as soft. It still feels pretty soft when you work it up, but more of a fuzzy soft than a chenille soft, if you know what I mean. Like the Premier Parfait chunkies are very, very soft. This isn't that, but it's more of a fuzzy soft like you would get with Chenille Basics from Premier, or different than a Bernat blanket, but it's really pretty. I really like it. This one was a win for me. I think I'm gonna double it up and use it as trim, like dragon wings on the dragons that I'm working on for you guys. Did I mention that this is $4.99? A skein of this is, $4.99. Next, I went to Joann's and I finally tried the Juicy Couture Velvet. This one actually came to me from a friend. I was surprised by it. Okay, so here's the thing. This I thought was gonna be more like Parfait Chunky. But when I got this and I took it off the skein and went to go crochet with it, it actually feels a lot more to me like the Just Chenille that you could get at the Dollar Tree. And I thought, well, this is gonna work up a little bit smaller than I thought. That's what I thought. This recommended a 6.5 millimeter hook. I used a 5.0 millimeter hook, and that worked out pretty well for me. You can see, here's my little guy. He is definitely smaller than the Parfait Chunky. Right away, you can, I mean, it's a definite difference. I thought this would work well with Parfait Chunky. Now, I think not so much. I feel like this might need to work on its own, or I might need to play around with it. But the Parfait Chunky, definitely bigger than this Juicy Couture, which was a surprise. I thought it would be similar. Also, this is the sparkly one, if you guys can kind of see. It's hard to read on camera, but in person, I don't love it. It's unlike this that has like this really like shimmery, light silvery blue, kind of like frosted look to it. This one, the silver is definitely more gray, and depending on how the light's hitting it, sometimes it reads black. It's like that deep black metallic almost. It's not, it's all silver. It's just sometimes that's how it reads, which gives a different look to the pink that it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite of the sparkly yarns. I really like the Premier Parfait Glitz. I think has a really, you can kind of see, also has like a really gentle color to it, but it might be a little more, it might read black sometimes too on this white one actually. And maybe that's the lighting, I don't know. It's not my favorite sparkle, but it did work up well. I didn't have any trouble with it on my hook. Like I said, I used a 5.0 millimeter. It worked great with my magic ring. I didn't have any trouble. I think that's because it's less plush than the Parfait Chunky. So I didn't have any trouble with it closing my ring. The stitch definition is pretty good for how plush it is. I mean, you can clearly see those stitches on there. And when I was working with them, I didn't have any trouble. It worked up a little more like a velvet. I didn't have any trouble frogging it. Oh, also on this one, I didn't have any trouble frogging that one either. And this Juicy Couture yarn is $9.99. I think that's a little pricey. It's almost always on sale though. Can't remember the last time I saw it not on sale. Currently it's $6.99 a skein, which is closer in line to what I would think. I mean, Parfait Chunky's $4.99 to $5.99 a skein. I would expect this to be more in line with that. I don't like it as much as Parfait, so I would be hard pressed to buy it. This was a perfectly acceptable chenille plush yarn. I like it, it's fine. Probably will never be one of my favorites. But since I did use this one and I immediately felt it was similar to the Just Chenille, I was like, I have to get a skein of Just Chenille. And I had been slacking on that because they don't have it at Dollar Trees by us anymore. I can never find it. And I don't want to spend $25 buying a great big cone of it because I can't remember how much I like it. My friend Jackie at Stormy's Happy Place came to the rescue, and she gave me a skein of the yellow Just Chenille so I could compare. So the Just Chenille is considered a 5 bulky weight, and it comes from the Dollar Tree in little skeins of 65 yards, or you can now get it on the Premier site, only on the Premier site, in a cone form that has 1,200 meters or over 1,300 yards. That is a lot. And it's $25. Is that still true? Yeah, it used to be $19.99. Now it's $24.99. I kind of want to buy some, especially after reminding myself that how much I do like it. This is it compared to the Juicy Couture. They really are a pretty good match. The Juicy Couture worked up a little chunkier, a little fatter around, but generally speaking, these are very similar Octos. And unlike this one, I really love working with this one. I don't know why, it's just a tiny bit softer. I didn't have the sparkle, which wasn't my favorite here. And it's just, it's a super simple workup. Magic Ring is a breeze with this one compared to Parfait Chunky that can be a little temperamental. It did not shed, neither of these really shed very much at all. And the stitch definition was perfectly acceptable. It's not the best stitch definition, but it is far, far from the worst. And it is so soft. It is so much softer than I remembered it being, guys. I love it. I really liked working with this. I wish it was more easily accessible to us. I don't know if your Dollar Tree still carries it, but our Dollar Tree is nowhere to be found and hasn't been for a while. And I went to the Dollar Tree website and I really couldn't find it on there. They had a couple of colors, but when I clicked on them, it said you had to find them in store. So your mileage may vary. They have 20 different colors now. That's a huge upgrade. They used to have far less than that. Now they have 20 colors. So if you wanted to invest in these, you could do really well. The price is not bad for how much you get. There's something to be said for having it on a cone that you'll never run out of. I mean, it would take you an awful long time to run out of 1,300 yards of just chenille. I used it for my Care Bear. If you guys notice, the Care Bear is gone. One of you guys bought my Care Bear. He's been gone for a while. I think I've mentioned it. He is on his way to Australia. All right, I would use this again. I am so tempted to buy some of the cones. If they ever go on sale, I think I would. Anyway, all right, moving right along. This little cutie, this is Himalayan Dolphin baby yarn that I got on Amazon in a 2-pack. I have been meaning to try this. I actually have used the white before, but I didn't do an Octo out of it. I have been meaning to test it for ages because I know a lot of you, especially that don't live in the US, have access to Himalayan Dolphin baby a little easier than Premier Parfait. I like it so much, guys. Spoiler alert. You can get this in 2-packs on Amazon if you live in the US for somewhere between $12 and $20, depending on the colors, the time of day. You guys know Amazon's really finicky. Their prices are always juggling up and down. It was a better price than the Estaco, and I like it every bit as much as the Estaco. If we remember, I tested the Estaco, but it is smaller than the Estaco and smaller than Parfait Chunky, quite a bit. And I always kind of assumed it was going to be the same. I feel like people talk about them interchangeably, but it is decidedly smaller. I used a 5mm hook. The package actually recommended a 4.5mm, which was odd because chenille yarns normally recommend ridiculously big hooks. But this one recommended a 4.5. I actually used a 5.0 because I wanted to treat it similar to my Parfait Chunky. It is smaller. I can't lie. But let's talk about the good stuff because there is lots of good stuff with this particular Octo. It doesn't shed. It is super soft. I had very little shedding. It frogged very well. It was very usable. There was no problems with my magic circle. In my first attempt, I was able to close it. I do my magic circles with chenille yarn pretty loose because I don't want to have trouble with them, but I had no issues with this one. The stitch definition, very similar to Parfait Chunky. I don't have any issues with it for a chenille yarn. Generally, it's a little more expensive. Like I said, you can get a 2-pack for, I think this one I paid like $13 for the 2-pack, which is a little more expensive. And you don't get any more yarn. Like I said, this is 131 yards. I think this is a good yarn. I would use it. They have a lot of colors. How many did they have when I was looking at it? 45? They have like 45 colors. That's a lot. I picked this green because I wanted a different kind of green than I have already. The other dark green I have is this dark emerald from Premier, which is, looks so similar on camera. It's actually a little more different than it looks in the hue. This has a little more of like an olivey kind of tint to it, which I wanted. I think it would make some cute pickles. I think it would make some cute froggies. I'm excited to work with it. I would use this yarn, especially if I could find a really good price on it. And this is the kind of thing that I still sometimes struggle with some colors from Parfait Chunky and Chenille Home Slim and Sweet Snuggles. Those have something colors that still kind of fall apart for me sometimes. This one I think is pretty sturdy. I do like it. I can see myself using it quite a bit. It was a win. It was a win. It's not the same as Parfait Chunky. Let's just remind ourselves. It's this much smaller than Parfait Chunky, and it is this much smaller than Sweet Snuggles Light. But I still like it a lot, and I would use it. I just don't know that I could combine it too much in a project. I could use it for small pieces or something. with the same projects, but I don't know that you could combine it all the time directly if you wanted the pieces to be equal. That was a win. Let's move on. All right, we are getting to the fun ones. This is Cheerful Fleece Minis from Herrschners. Guys, look at this yarn. Okay, first, elephant in the room. The color saturation on this yarn is insane. For being a variegated kind of multicolored yarn, shut up, it's just gorgeous. And for whatever reason, when I did this particular pattern with it, it like spiraled the colors. Can you see that? It's like the pink, the white, the yellow, the green, the blue. They're like spiraled and they just look so pretty. I like this yarn. I also bought it in one that's kind of like blues and greens and whites. Whites, as if there's more than one white. White, blues and greens. And okay, good things about, there are some really good things about this yarn. Hershner's Cheerful Fleece Multis yarn. I got this is the color Unicorn, and they do have like a brighter rainbow one. They have just a ton of fun different color combos, but all of them are bright and fun, and if you need that for whatever reason, these are great. I paid $3.99 for one of these, but they are small skeins. It is 76 yards. Definitely similar in feel to a burnout blanket. It's not as soft as the newest burnout blankets that you can get, like the burnout baby blankets that are just super soft, but it's also not as stiff and scratchy as the older ones that you still run across of burnout blanket, the stiffer ones. It's somewhere in between. It's definitely fleecy. It does feel fleecy. It's not as soft as a chenille, but it's still soft and it's still fun. And I'll forgive it a lot because these colors are so insane. I love them so much. It recommended a 9mm hook. I used a 7mm hook. Let's compare it to my Bernat and my Bernat baby. Okay, so here it is compared to the Bernat. Pretty similar. The Bernat's maybe a little taller, but very similar look to these. This is the Bernat baby, also pretty similar. It's a tiny bit bigger than that one, but very similar in the way it's constructed. You can kind of see here, it just looks like a Bernat, right? It's got the cord in the center and the fleecy yarn all around it. Very similar. It feels a lot like this purple, which is one of those kind of middle of the road Bernats. They have this marked as a number 5 bulky weight. You know, it's not. This is a super bulky if I've ever seen one. And how funny that this is a super bulky and this is a number 5 bulky. I mean, we could use a little bit of standardization in the yarn world, but whatever. The stitch definition is good. It's fair. It's exactly what you would expect from like a Bernat blanket yarn. Problems frogging it. Magic ring worked out great for me. The fun spiral was just a super nice surprise. I really enjoyed. There was no shedding. I can see myself ordering this again, honestly, even though it's really small. They do have solids, and those come in a much bigger, those come in a 10.5 ounce cake, and they're much more comparable. They have 262 yards, 240 meters. So this could be combined with that. This could be combined with anything in your Bernat. I think this is a good find. Like I said, not quite as nice as Bernat, but very good, very good. And they have some different solid colors than Bernat does. And some of Bernat's bright colors aren't the best. They're pretty stiff. I think this is worth trying. If you guys ever order from Hershner, stick one in your cart next time. The $3.99 price for these is not bad for what you're getting. The big ones are $9.99. They do go on sale sometimes. I have bought one before and used it on Flipsy the frog, which was adorable. I recommend this. I would use it again. I probably will order it again next time I'm ordering from Hershner's. The colors are just too cute. I think I'd love to try using this kind of color pattern actually on a unicorn for like the curly cues for the tail and stuff. I think that would be really cute because it would blend all those rainbow colors together. And they do have, like I said, all sorts of different color palettes that I could, in fact, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go order more in these different colors because that would be really cute to use. That would be really cute to use. And it would be really cute to use on like wings of a dragon or, oh yeah, oh, my brain. I'm gonna have to order more of these. I suggest you guys do too. No, not sponsored. Okay, we have made our way through 5 of the 6 skeins and 5 of the 7 octos that I have included in today's video. And the next one, oh baby, the next one. This, I'm just gonna show you. This is like, I mean, I have a big head. If I did not have a giant head, this would be as big as my head. This is the same pattern as this. And it turned out so huge. You guys, let me show you this. This is the Bernat Extra, which I thought was huge. And look at this next to it. This is bigger. This is bigger than that. It is bigger around. It's bigger tall. And this is substantial. This, like, you could chuck this at someone and do some damage. I don't know. I do not recommend that. Anyway, it is huge. This is the Juicy Couture super bulky polyester luxe velour XL yarn from Joann's. So this is the big cousin of this. This is the regular, and I expected this XL to be a step up, much like this is the Chenille Home, like it's an XL yarn, right? This is an XL yarn. This is the jumbo yarn, and this is a number 6 bulky. What the? Oh, okay, let's dive into this baby. What makes this such a crazy yarn? Well, let me show you. This big old rope of beautiful pink fuzziness is a strand of the XL yarn. But if you look down here, it's actually 2 pretty good sized yarns that are twisted together. So I'm gonna go ahead and take them apart. They're twisted together, guys. And they make this giant yarn that is, like I said, a jumbo yarn if I've ever seen one, but we're gonna say that it's a 6 super bulky because that's what Joann's and Juicy Couture are telling us. With this yarn, you only get 48 yards or 44 meters. It is not a lot in one skein. I was able to make this, and I could not have made 2 of them. I could make maybe another half of one. I still had plenty of yarn left, but not enough to do this again. Okay, this recommended a 10mm hook. Keeping in mind that this recommends an 11mm hook. I tried to do a 7mm hook, but that's not gonna happen. That felt ridiculously small with this yarn, so I ended up using a 9mm, which still honestly felt tight. It felt like I could have actually done it with a 10mm, but I didn't have my 10mm handy, and I was not motivated to go get it. Guys, it is gorgeous though. I mean, I low-key love it. Honestly, I love it. I love it so much. I just love it. Crazy enough, compared to this Juicy Couture, which is my least favorite yarn of the day, this I am obsessed with. Similar in the way that I was obsessed with this Velvet Plus when I first used it, but I think I like this more. I think I might even like this more. It did not shed very much at all. The magic ring was not hard to pull closed, but because the stitches are so big, it was hard to get used to making a magic ring big enough to fit the 8 stitches in that I needed for it. That was a thing. I love it. I love it. Stitch definition, you can see pretty darn good, all things considered. Much better than this Bernat velvet. Much better than this. Big fan of this one. But what was I meant to do? I had to separate it and make another octo with one single strand of this, right? I mean, I had to, and I did. I separated the strands for a large chunk of this yarn. And I have to tell you, it's not easy to separate these because they are so twisted. You can't just pull them apart. You have to keep untwisting them. I ended up pulling apart as much as I could and then going ahead and cutting it and starting again. So I did have to join my yarn a few times in this project. But look at it. I'm gonna say it was worth it, you guys. This is my single strand of the Juicy Couture XL, and it is still pretty freaking good size. Look, it's bigger than this fleece, which means it's bigger than my Bernat. Oh, here's my big twist. Let's compare it to the big twist. It's bigger than the big twist, but not a ton. Significantly bigger than the Bernat, and 3 million times softer. This is the softest yarn. It's so soft, guys. I think that I would buy this again just to pull it apart and use it. I don't know that this is a functional use because with only 48 yards per skein and they're $11.99 a skein, this would take a lot of yarn to do any reasonably sized project. But this, guys, if you pull them apart, you end up with almost 100 yards of yarn. And I just loved working with this. So you can see it's still pretty good size. This is the pulled apart version. This is just one strand and it is really fluffy. It's not shedding much at all. Very little shed and so incredibly soft, so easy to work with. I am gonna figure out a better way to untangle these and use them because I have to. I wish there were more colors. There's only like, let's look. I think there's 6 or 8 colors maybe. Let's look, let's find out. 8, there are 8 colors of this and they're mostly dark. This and white are the only light ones. Then there's a really bright pink, a really dark green, a dark like navyish blue, a gray, a black, and this. I mean, it's almost like it's almost a really deep burgundy brown. It's more burgundy, but it's really dark. Even still though, guys, it's just so pretty. I really like it. I hope they come out with more colors soon because I would use this a lot. And I wish, let's somebody call Juicy Couture, call Joann's, call Juicy Couture. Could they just make this for me? Could they just make this in a skein just this size? I mean, they can make both, right? I mean, look what a difference, right? I like it. I like this. I like that. I like them both. I ended up with 2 different Octos from this one skein of yarn, in case you were wondering. The biggest Octo I've ever made and maybe one of my favorites. All in all, we'll wrap this up. All in all, this was a really successful Octo day. I ended up with a bunch of yarns I liked, a reminder of how much I like the Just Chenille. Really like the Himalayan Dolphin, really like this Herrschners Fleece Multis yarn. This Pixie Dust Brights from Premier turned out so pretty. I don't know, this is not my preferred size to work with, so I don't know how often I'll work with it by itself, but I really like it. And my only kind of not favorite is this regular Juicy Couture. Not my favorite, didn't work up as well as I wanted. I just am not loving the sparkles. This color of pink is not look at these, the difference between this color and this color. I just like this color so much better. It just feels softer and pinker and prettier. I don't know, I like it. I don't know why they're different, but they are. I had so much fun, you guys. And if you can believe it, I still have so many more yarns I want to try. I am placing an ice order soon for some ice yarns because you guys have been asking about them and I've been meaning to. I have a friend that tried them recently and really liked them. And they have some teeny tiny yarns too that I think are supposed to be really good. I want to try those. I have so many more to try from Premier. I have their snow cone yarn on the way. So many more yarns to try, you guys. More Hobie yarns to try. It's ridiculous. We're going to be here forever. And someday we'll wrap it all up in a bow, perhaps. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Once again, I have links to these yarns down below. Some of them are affiliate links. I'm just starting to do that, just so you guys know. You don't have to click on them, but I did go ahead and add affiliate links for some of the things that I have purchased. And just to help pay for some of these things that we do on the channel and some of the costs of running the channel. It will be teeny tiny amounts of money, but if you click on those, know that it is super appreciated. If you don't, it is still super appreciated that you're here hanging out. I can't wait to see you guys again. We'll be back. Bye.